Hello friends, this is Jenny for Live With Intention, and I want to chat today about minimalism. This movement that is taken storm, at least I think it is. It's becoming more popular in my world, but maybe that's just because I'm talking about it with everybody and I'm loving it right now. But no, I really do think that it's becoming more mainstream, and I think we have the minimalists to thank for that. These guys, if you haven't heard of them, check them out. They created the documentary and have also been on tour twice now, and it's called the Less Is Now Tour, and I had a chance to check them out when they were here in San Diego about a month ago, and the line at the House of Blues was like out the door, around the corner, like city blocks. There were just hundreds of us waiting to get in, and to hear what these guys have to say about this idea of less is now, living more simply, living intentionally. And I love this because I think so often we get entranced into what we should be doing, how we should look, what we should buy, and that these purchases and this, material life is going to make us happy. And this level of success is where we need to be, and once we get there, then everything is going to be great, and life is going to be everything that you wanted it to be. And I think the truth of the matter is that we have to be here now, and that more stuff isn't going to necessarily make us any happier. And in fact, it can even create more stress. So I want to just reel it back and share a little bit about my story and why I'm so excited and passionate about this. So, to give you some context, this began for me about 4 months ago, and I got married to the love of my life, and we had an incredible wedding. Our friends and family came from all over the country, and it was epic. I have never felt so much love in my life, and I was riding really high. And then 3 days later, I was laid off. Mm-hmm. Um, I held an executive level position at a world renowned wellness facility, and I got laid off. Didn't see it coming. So, this had been my vision. My career had been driving me towards this role since I was 19, and I loved the company, the mission, our guests. It was such a great opportunity to be there for the 4 years that I was, and I was shocked when I was let go, but thankfully I kept coming back to my spiritual practice, and I love this affirmation: I trust the process of life, and all is unfolding for my highest good. So I grieved the loss of this part of my identity and this part of my life, and then I just had on repeat those two affirmations: I trust the process of life. It's all unfolding for my highest good. And then I was able to start moving forward and create space, in my life for this channel and for, all those things that I'm passionate about that I wasn't making time for before. So, how does that relate to minimalism? Well, I wanted to give you an idea as to where I was at when I got really intrigued by this movement. So, got married, got laid off. Our lease was going to be up in 30 days, so we had to either recommit to the lease and stay in our home and find a new roommate, or find a new place to live. So there were a lot of changes happening in our life at that time, and because I had the free time, I thought, you know what, I don't know what's happening. We might move, we might not move, but regardless, I think I just need to purge. I need to go through all of our stuff and just start organizing and packing and letting go of what we don't need. So it began on a very physical level, just going through my closet and our kitchen supplies and organizing all those new wedding gifts that we got and my books and all the little knickknacks. It was like there was so much shit. I honestly, and I pride myself even before I really got into minimalism about only buying what I loved. And every time I moved, I make it a point to like get my hands on every single item, and I donate a lot, and yet still, I'd accumulated so much stuff. I had like 37 tote bags or something stupid. Like, who needs that? So I pared down, and if it's of any interest, maybe I'll flash some before and after shots of the things that I kept and what I let go of. But it was a lot. So at the end of the month, we really had most of our stuff packed away and sitting in the garage, all but the essentials. And we ended up staying in our home. So we had kind of like an unintentional packing party. And if you're familiar with the minimalists, you'll know what I mean. But it was such a great exercise because it helped to go through everything and pare it back. And, the house felt so light and clean, and I was able to focus more. It was like a fresh slate. It was just such an amazing opportunity to kind of step into this new phase, this next chapter of our lives, letting go from the past of what we didn't need. And then we had this fresh slate, and I was able to start to slowly kind of pull out the items that had value and that were beautiful and that, I just wanted to surround us by. And my take on minimalism is not what you're living without. It's so much more about living with intention that really resonates with me. And so this rush, because once you start, you know what I mean. It's just like, purging and letting go, and it feels so good, and it's like you're building momentum. And I wanted more and more of it. It's like at some point I'd went through all of our stuff, and I let go of a lot, all of the kitchen, the bathroom, the toiletries, these huge bins of notebooks from college and training manuals and old client intake forms, like shred that shit. And just so much stuff that I'd carried. And of course, I'm an organized person. So it was like organized clutter and organized just excess, and pared it all down. And I wanted to keep going, it felt good. So I helped a few friends move and kind of go through their stuff as well. And once there was no more like physical stuff to go through, it started to affect me on other levels. So I went through my inbox, I went through my cell phone, I went through old pictures, just like clear, 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 delete, 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 upload, scan. I mean, like, get it into a digital format and then let go of the rest. It feels so good. And I was a person that had like hundreds of unread emails and like 30 new voicemails. Like, why wouldn't I just listen to my voicemail? I don't know. And it's like, all this stuff, it was just taking up energy. It's like it's taking up real estate in my brain and in my field and in my environment, on all levels. You go into a drawer looking for something and you can't find it because there's all this other clutter and shit in the way. And it's like, that's stressful. You go into your closet and all the stuff is crammed in there because you have I had 100 shirts. Why? I didn't wear all of those. And so it's like pared down, only have what I needed. And I did this in my physical environment and it was great and I felt lighter. But I really believe that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So as I started to embrace this concept of minimalism more and more and more, just became more aware about the purchases that I was making, what I was bringing into my home, what I was putting into my body. And I've gone down this path of vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan, mostly plant-based, but then every once in a while eating some baby back ribs because they were delicious, pizza. But as I started to make these other choices and really become more aware of how I was feeling when I was taking stuff in, whether it be information or physical items or food, I decided that I wanted to simplify my diet as well. And so I chose to become 100% vegan. And that feels great. It feels so light and it feels easier. It feels simple. It feels good. It feels like it's in alignment with me. And so then I started to work on an emotional plane. What beliefs, what feelings, what energies am I holding on to that aren't serving me? And working with myself and some other energy healers to just let go and cleanse and rid myself of that, negativity or the blockages and the stuff that I was holding on to. And so just started to clear out on that emotional plane and just spending more time getting quiet, more time out in nature, and becoming conscious about who I was spending my time with and the conversations that we were having, and redirecting my energy to only being with people that make me feel good, that yeah. And not to say that I'm always feeling good myself or that my friends aren't allowed to have a hard day or be in a rough patch, and that we can't talk about it because we can and we're real and that's human. But there's a difference, there's a difference between someone who is genuinely more tense and negative and complaining or making choices that aren't in alignment with my beliefs, and someone who is really working on their path and bringing value and shining. And that is who I wanted to spend my time with. So it's just affected me on every single plane of my life and on my physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And it's such a gift to be able to just continue to let go of what isn't serving me, to set healthy boundaries, and to then use my energy and my resources on those projects and people and ideas and self-care that feel good and that are important to me. So I'm at this space now that I don't know if I qualify as a minimalist. I probably still have too much stuff. But that's okay, I don't want to be attached to a label. I just am loving this movement and this idea of focusing on what brings us joy and creating experiences and living intentionally instead of having to buy more stuff to fit in. And I would love to connect with more people who are excited about this, and just hear what you have to say. So I think that's it for now. Thanks for staying. Thanks for listening. Thank you for connecting. Subscribe. This channel will have videos on minimalism, veganism, hypnotherapy, yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, just, anything that I find value in my life that I want to share. So, thank you. Namaste.